back to American Girl Collectors. So I have here some stuff that I work on when it comes to putting on a stop motion. And if you're wondering on how to put a stop motion together when it comes to matching it to the American Girl book, you could follow along these instructions, but they are very detailed, so you are going to need to know how to read and write when it comes to following this video. So for starters, this is my planner, my agenda. I put little post-it notes here so that later, whenever I need to stick them to the page, I just use clear tape. I always have extra. You could buy them, but I just DIY them because it's easier. And then here I have a calendar of what happens throughout the day. Every day I write a whole bunch of stuff. And since it's Sunday, I'm going to write here because the day just started. So, there's that. This is the book I decided to choose because I already did one of these. I actually had done that one, which is Dive Right In. And so this book I actually found at the thrift store, but sometimes you're lucky to find American Girl books at the thrift store, believe it or not. And so what I had done was I went through the whole book twice. The first time I went through it, I put post-it notes on all the pages that have pictures on them so I can get an idea of what happens in the book. So that's why there's so many yellow ones. And then the orange ones up here are the pages I look at when I film the stop motion. So I also went through the book another three times, and I highlighted all the parts where the characters that my dolls are going to play in the stop motion appear. That way I know what doll appears and when they appear. So I had to go through the whole book, find the names, and underline them. You could highlight it if you want, but I chose to underline it. So that gave me an idea of which dolls appear in the book and at what time. Of course, you want to read the back of the book because that always explains what happens. So now that I have an idea which dolls, I go ahead and I bought this book at the thrift store. I'm not. What am I saying? At the dollar store. Oh wait, I have to crop that part. That page I can't show you because it has to do with my emails and stuff, so I'm not going to show you that one. But here is a page of my dolls and when I got them, including mini dolls and pets. Here are my boxes and parcels that I've collected with American Girl. I always have an inventory of them because I don't want to lose a box, and if I need a list of it, at least I have it. And of course I'm going to continue it. Here is a list of all the Be Forever dolls that American Girl has come out with. Here, oh, and if you make a mistake, for example, here I wrote Melody twice. I just, with pencil, I just crossed it out. It's not a big deal. And then here are all the Girls of the Year that they've come out with, including the newest one. Here's a list of all the Truly Me dolls, because when you're putting together, let's say you have a classic mold. The Truly Me dolls have so many dolls with the classic mold. So you can go ahead and make different wigs and stuff. But then you probably, like over here I could explain, they have this color hair, these color eyes, this color skin, and all that. So you could always do that. The list is pretty long and it's to be continued because American Girl does add more dolls to their collection. This is a collection of my books that are doll activity books and Truly Me books, my movies, my novels of Be Forevers and Girls of the Year. Contemporary also, which is sort of like a Girl of the Year. Contemporary comes out not on January 1st, but it still comes out not exactly as a Be Forever would. And then here are, this is Dive Right In, which is the book I had done before. The stop motions are always up on YouTube if you wanted to watch it. But because this is the sequel, I have to match it identically. So I have to choose all the same pictures. For example, I have to choose the same picture of these character dolls. The map, that sort of thing. And I actually have to say it the same way I said it in the first stop motion. So, but the characters in this one are going to be different because they had a coach in that one. This year they don't have a coach team. It's a different type of story. So, I went back to my stop motions and I wrote down everything I had said. So that was in chapter 1. I did 6 chapters, which means it was 6 of them. Chapter 2, chapter 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. So now we're going into a surprise find. And that starts over here. So here I wrote down the characters from before, but I have 2 more dolls actually to include. So I thought I would have to find new characters in the book to give them a character in the stop motion. And it took a while for me to decide which characters I was going to choose. So, if you had followed my previous stop motion, if you watched them, you'll know I did an introduction first, and then I did the 6 stop motion. So, an introduction is where the doll was on the counter, and she was pointing to the wall, and she's saying, "This is what's going to happen in the stop motion." And then all the dolls walked into the video, and they're introducing themselves. So I got to do that exact same way. Here is actually what took a long time. You see all these numbers and stuff. I went through the book, let's say for Emmy, and like I said, I had gone through the book and I underlined their name. Every time the doll's name appeared in the book, I would write the page number. So Emmy appeared in all these pages in the book. Riley appeared, she's going to be another character. So every time a doll appeared in the book, I would write it down so that later, whenever I'm filming the stop motion, I'm like, oh, what happened in the story again? Oh, Paige was doing it on this page, or Logan was on this page. So it's easier to pull up that way. And then, with pencil, I had circled all the similar pages that they appeared in. Because if the pages are similar, then I can go ahead and put it together because I know all the dolls are going to be in those pages. Here is where I wrote down all the common pages that they appear in, and there's a lot of characters, so I know that the dolls will appear in these pages. And then here's where I divided them up, saying how many pages I have to film in the stop motion. Last time I did this, it was about 2 or 3 pages of the book per stop motion. So it probably seems like a lot, but I would choose, like, let's say this page, that page, and that page, and it would give me a whole upload. So it doesn't really take many pages from a book to put a stop motion together, but you still need the story. So then I wrote down through all the pages what scenes appear in the story from the map that they give us in the book over here, this map. And so I know that at the Star Stables, which was last time, they were on the horses, like all the places that the dolls will appear in the story. In this book, basically, I'm just going to tell you quickly, not too much. They're holding a clothing drive to raise money for charity, but one of the girls loses a bracelet that meant a lot to her and her friend. So that the whole story is like based on all the parts I circled and stuff. They'll appear here, here, and here, and all that. So now I have an idea of where to film the stop motion. And then I have to build the sets. So I circled all the places that the story takes place in, and all along here. This was a summary of what happens in the book. So I went through the book like 3 times, and I'm like, okay, this is what happens. So I started writing from here, and then all the way up until here, and that's what happens in the story. And up here too. So now that I know what's happening in the story, I need to break down which scenes and sets I'm going to be putting together with the doll furnitures, and how are they going to appear in the stop motion. So I checked off the places that I can possibly build. I have to build a little clothing store for the dolls to play in, a market, which means I have to make, like, they sell jewelry there, so I have to find together some doll jewelries and make it seem like the dolls are selling it. They need a lost and found, a library, a plaza, all these places that the dolls will appear in the stop motion. But of course, I have to actually build it, so it has to be like realistic. So I chose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets that I know I can build because they don't seem that impossible. This one is going to be called a casual closet. It's a little shop. It's a little store that appears in the book at the clothing center, the shopping square. So I'm going to have to build a little store for the dolls to hold their fundraiser in the stop motion. Here I have to build a little market where they sell jewelry. So I know I have Kit's garden stand, And I also have the ice cream cart. Maybe I could take the food out and lay some jewelry across it so that it looks like in the stop motion that the dolls are selling the jewelry. I also need a bedroom area because in the story she goes searching through her bedroom for the missing bracelet. But I already have a decent bedroom scene where I keep my American Girl dolls, so I don't have to build that one, thank goodness. So that one at least I know I have ready. And then they need a lost and found because she goes looking through the lost and found for her bracelet. So I have to put together that, and then a little cafeteria area. And now that I know what to build, I need to divide it up into the stop motions. Chapter 6, I was thinking about doing it behind the scenes, but because I didn't do that the last time, I don't know about that one yet. But so far, that's what's gonna happen. And I know I probably just confused you by saying all this stuff, but it does come to mind when you need to build a stop motion and put it together. Here are ideas of stuff that I thought when I watch videos in the movies, ideas that I can use that compare my stuff to their stuff. And so that was, oh, and then what else is here? Oh, yes, okay. And then here are ideas for my studios. I had to get rid of all the winter stuff. And maybe I'll put together like a better set and stuff like that. So, that's what it takes to put together an American Girl stop motion based off the American Girl books.